Love here on the Power Hour, coming to you live Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Coming to you from 900 a.m. Philadelphia, 96.1 FM, Pennsylvania's only black talk station, all day long. Talk shows rather, from the black perspective. Who knew? I tell you, this is incredible. When I tell people this, they're like, "Oh, you do a show. Where is it?" Like, it's Philly. It's PAs only. They're like, "What? PA's got an all black?" Yes, yes, yes. And if that's not enough, you can also check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on Facebook Live. Yes, this morning we are on Facebook Live. I'm looking at it right now. YouTube was our temporary home yesterday. They were so kind. All the YouTubers, they opened up the door of hospitality. Oh my God. They opened up the door of hospitality. They were kind of like people like, because Facebook tends to kind of look down on anyone that's not Facebook when it comes to like live events. Yesterday, Facebook Live didn't come on, so Facebook had nowhere to go except to YouTube. So YouTube opened up the door for us. Catfish Hillbilly and Nikki O'Tim and others allowed Facebook to come and hang out yesterday. They were so kind and generous. Hey, hit the share button. Send this out to your friends and to your family. Hit the YouTube link. Drop it on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you are on social media. Text it to your peoples and tell them, turn in and tune in to the Power Hour. Typically hosted by Bishop Dwayne David Roysta and myself, Mark Kelly Tyler. But he's getting some well-deserved R&R. I mean, well-deserved. You all know, but the hardest working person that I know. And that is no exaggeration. But I'm not alone on this morning. I've got all of you in your comments, your commentary. Look like Casa Hu and Gary and Kataria, Franny, Deborah, Lois. Glad to see all of you commenting early. Bishop Peggy as well. Shout us out this morning on Facebook or on YouTube. Got a great show lined up. We're going to talk to Leah Daughtry of the Democratic National Party. The Democratic Party, I should say. She was the person who was behind the convention where Hillary Clinton accepted her historic nomination to be the first woman nominee at the top of the ticket for either political party in the United States. She also chaired the Democratic National Convention when Barack Obama also made history the first time in accepting the nomination for president. She knows a little bit about Democratic politics. So I want to pick her brain this morning and talk to her about what's going on in the world today. The infrastructure bill is looking like it's going to pass with some bipartisan support. What does that mean? Want to find out what she sees on the horizon for 2022 with the Senate and the House, whether or not Trump is going to have an impact, for better, for worse. And of course, want to get her opinion on three names that don't even need a last name: Stacy, Val, and Raphael. Not our Raphael, who I haven't seen in the last few days. Somebody check on Raphael. But yeah, I want to find out about Stacey Abrams, Val Demings, Raphael Warnock, and their future. And so let's see what's happening. She's going to be a good interview. Now, before we get to all of that, like I said, I'm not here by myself today. The station would not dare leave me here alone. They know better. there's probably little post-it notes all throughout the studio, WURD. Don't leave Mark by himself. So my chaperone is here, holding down the board. What's up, Kawesa?
Good morning. How are you?
She's laughing because she knows that she's got, this may not be a post-it note, but it's probably an email copied to everybody but me. Do not share this with Tyler.
Oh gosh.
How's the traffic? How's the weather?
Traffic, not too bad. It is starting to pick up a little bit, I noticed. It always, once it gets past 5:30, traffic starts to move a little bit more. Well, not move. I guess it slowed down. It picks up more after 5:30. But it wasn't too bad for me. Trucks are usually on this early in the morning, so I always get stuck behind a truck. So I try to make sure I leave accordingly so that I don't, wind up getting here late. So yeah. As far as the weather, it's not hot. Like, I think it's in the mid 60s or so, but it's humid. So, I did find it a little difficult, breathing in my mask a little bit. And I know that it's supposed to rain a little bit later. So I guess, folks, bring an umbrella, drive slow. If you don't have to go somewhere, don't. But that's what I'm seeing, at least
All
now.
right. That, you got it. Weather and traffic from Kawesa on the twos, just because it's 612. So I'm just going to declare it was weather and traffic on the twos by the Queen, Kawesa. What's up, Greg Brinkley? Glad to see you, my brother, always. So, boy. So, Tracy, see you joining. Leslie's in. Tawanda is in. Simone Biles. Simone Biles. All right. Let me see if I can give you my take on Simone Biles. And it's a shame that, Bishop Royster's not here today because I know how much he loves talking about sports. I had to do this sports story without him, and I know he's probably like saying, I want to talk about it because I'm a big sports guy. Yeah, okay. So people are upset about Simone Biles exiting the games because of citing mental health, really just kind of looking out for her mental well-being. Maybe that's the best way to put it. So I hear a lot from people my age, because now we are beginning to be the older generation. So we're, if you were born in the 60s or 70s, you're on deck to be the old heads. And I hear a whole lot about this generation is not mentally tough anymore. This generation and this generation and this generation. And the Bible says something about, not to go all religious on you all this morning, but it does say something about there's nothing new under the sun. And I'll say about that statement, there's nothing new about that statement. Because show me the generation that thinks the generation that followed them was not soft and weak. Please, show it to me. Because honestly, when I hear people talk about Simone Biles and they make it about this generation, in our day, athletes be shot by terrorists on their way to the games and still compete and win a gold medal and wouldn't go to the hospital for 3 or 4 days. All they had was a Band-Aid and Robitussin, right? I mean, honestly, you all, it's every generation believes that the next generation is destroying everything that they built. I mean, let's look at this for a moment. So if you are my age and you have a parent and you have parents that were the age of my parents. So my mom was born in the middle, actually more toward the beginning of the Great Depression in Arkansas, in the country. The Depression, was a teenager during World War II, and her mother worked in a factory was a black Rosie the Riveter trying to save America and the world from a madman in Germany named Hitler. If that's not enough, they then decided, let's do the civil rights movement and just dismantle all this Jim Crowism. They did that. And so then we roll around. All those barriers are done. By the time if you're born in the 60s, again, we know it because we've read it. We know it because we've heard it. We experienced microaggressions from white folk, and we still deal with the vestiges of it. But trust me, we haven't done and gone through anything that they've gone through. And there were people in that generation that said, y'all kind of soft, kind of weak. Now here we are, and mental health being acknowledged as a thing that it has always been. I mean, speaking of World War II, soldiers got what they called shell shock. Couldn't go back out and fight. Mentally, they were messed up. General George Patton got into a bunch of trouble back then. Beating up a soldier, slapping him around because he would refuse to go and fight anymore. Didn't understand mental health. Right? And so here we are now, we are acknowledging it, we're talking about it, and what does our generation that's been called soft and gone through all of that stuff do? She's soft. Thank you, Marvin. Now, Marvin just broke this down. Marvin says, Michael Jordan stepped away from the game years ago. What was that? No, see, it was Jordan retiring, right? He stepped away to play baseball, and you know what? I got to agree, Marvin. I hadn't even thought about that before. But it was probably he just needed a mental health break, trying to be the GOAT. I mean, carrying the Bulls like he did. Good Lord. He didn't have a team of superstars. It was him. He made Scottie Pippen a superstar. But again, nobody called him mentally weak because he probably knew how to sell it. Perhaps what she should have done is just faked a major injury. My ankle. I twisted it. People would have been more forgiving about that. But this is the real problem that I have overall about this. Now, again, I support Simone Biles. If you're saying you can't do it, you can't go, sis, you have already proven your greatness. You don't have anything else to prove to me or to anybody else. So you do you, and the rest of you, like quote unquote Olympians, step up and win a medal or something. It's not Simone Biles against the world. It's the U.S. Olympic team. All right? But here's my real issue to Wanda and Karen. I find it incredible that the people who are going the hardest at Simone Biles, I'm talking about black folk now. Let me be more specific. My peer group, black men. That the people who are going hardest at Simone Biles are the people who are most understanding and compassionate about Bill Cosby. Think about it. Think about that. Look at your social media and find the brothers who are out there criticizing her heavily. And then go back a month and see what they said about Dr. Cosby. You'll find a pattern. Celebrating Cosby's release, wanting to banish Simone Biles. I mean, y'all are a trip, man. That's all I'm going to say. You all are a trip. So Bill is good, Simone is bad. What kind of upside down world are we living in? I mean, it's COVID as well. That's the other thing. It's COVID. I keep saying that this is affecting everything. People don't know how it's affecting everything. And you see this kind of thing. We have not gone through a normal time. Nothing is normal. Nothing is as it has always been. You should expect stuff like this. I mean, you want to be mad at somebody in the Olympics? Be mad at the American basketball team, men's team. Why are you losing to France? Did they play the Czech Republic yet to get into the medal games? They're not going to get a gold medal. I'm going to tell you right now. Why? Because they're soft. Anyway, I got to go to commercial. We'll be back. Bishop Leah Daughtry from the Democratic Party will be with us to help break down and forecast the 2022 election, help us understand what the chances are for Val Demings to beat Marco Rubio, Raphael Warnock to hold serve, Stacey Abrams to become governor of Georgia, and whatever else she wants to talk about. It's Leah Daughtry. It's her show when she gets here. It's 6:21 in the morning. This is the Power Hour. Hit the share button. Don't go anywhere.
The Broad Street line.
Georgetown High-Speed line.
I ride the bus.
Regional Rail every day.
Ursula Linia Azul. I ride the trolley.
Into, out of, and all around the city.
SEPTA is the hometown way to go.
Plan your trips at iseptaphilly.com.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Save the date. Thursday, August 26th for WURD Radio's annual Founders Day celebration, honoring the life of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. This year, we'll be both in person and virtual. Stay tuned to WURD Radio and WURDradio.com for more information. That's Thursday, August 26th for our annual Founders Day celebration. Exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. Again, Bishop Royster is getting some much needed R&R. It is the summertime. You're going to look around. I'm going to be doing the same thing at some point. But, yeah, listen, let me just say this. We got Bishop Daughtry on, got to bring her on in just a moment. Let me just simply say, the point that I'm trying to make is this about Simone Biles and the Bill Cosby piece. So I see Greg saying he supports both. Fine. I didn't say that's not possible. There's some people who don't support either, who say, I don't like Bill Cosby and I don't like what Simone Biles did. That's fine. What I'm suggesting, however, is that there is a certain element that is somehow able to fully endorse a Bill Cosby and outright reject a Simone Biles. That it's like you're going to defend Bill Cosby, and then Simone Biles says, I just can't do it. I can't go right now. She's a terrible person. She's embarrassing the country. You ain't mentally tough. That's what I'm talking about. It is not, so it's not every single person. It is definitely one of those if the shoe fits kind of thing. So obviously for a lot of you, the shoe doesn't fit. And I wouldn't expect that it would, because you listen to this program. So you know, we have a lot in common. We kind of see the world in similar ways, unless you just listen to the show to get you angry in the morning, like some people. So, you know, again, I'm talking about there are people out there. You know who I'm talking about. who got their caping for Cosby and things like that. I'm using that one example. I can give you multiple examples. And then when it comes to this, have zero compassion. You got compassion for Cos, but you got no compassion now for Simone? That's kind of my point. I don't have enough time to completely break it down right now. Maybe we'll come back to it. I don't think so, because after this interview, I want to talk about what the city council has done with regard to gun violence and how they're going to spend the new money that they've appropriated, because that's a very important conversation. But right now, we are very fortunate to have on the line with us, I'm talking about a major Democratic Party insider. She knows things that happened before they know it's going to happen. Just has to embargo information. My good friend, my sister, Bishop Leah Daughtry. Good morning. Welcome to the Power Hour.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my brother?
Oh, it's all good. You know, I tell you, I've been waiting for this conversation. Because I mean, listen, periodically I've got to check in with people, persons like you and, you know, some folk in your group, because, again, you all keep me, like, right where I need to be. And before we know it, the calendar will flip. And it will be 2022, and all of a sudden, everybody's talking about we got to get turnout. And so let's talk about 2022. And before we even talk about that, can you help us understand the state of play with the attack on voting and how you understand this moment, especially in places like Texas and Georgia and Florida, and even attempts in Pennsylvania?
There is a lot happening right now, particularly as it concerns voting rights. And all of it, let's be clear, is a reaction to what has happened over the last 4-8 years, going back to Barack Obama, really, but which is that the powers that be understand or are seeing that people of color, let me just say black people, have come into a political ascendancy, recognizing and exercising their right to vote, and their actions at the polls are changing and have changed the trajectory of this country. We elected our first black president, horror of horrors, pearl clutch for some of these people, and we were able to send Mr. Trump back to wherever he came from. We were able to flip the Senate, flip the state of Georgia on the strength of black voters. And so this is a reaction saying, oh, my God, we have got to stop this. So let us make it harder for black people and as a consequence, for brown people, for Native people, for people with disabilities, for old people to vote. Because when these people vote, it means that our hold, our grip on power will slip. And so you have Georgia, Texas, 17 different municipalities have passed restrictive voting rights bills that make it harder for people to vote, that lessen the hours. In Iowa, they've eliminated or limited the number of hours that you can vote. They've made it criminal in Georgia for you to give water and food to people who vote. In Texas, they've reduced the number of drop boxes where you can mail in your ballot. In some places, they've made it illegal to simply mail out blanket ballots, so you have to actually request one. This doesn't just affect black people. This affects people, working parents, who have to be at work on Election Day. Election Day is not a holiday in the United States. People got to go to work. So if the polls close at 5 o'clock in Iowa, as opposed to 7 or 9, who does that affect? People who are working, people who have child care issues. So if we're calling ourselves a democracy, it can't be a democracy if the people can't vote.
Well,
what is at stake right now?
Listen, thank you for laying it out the way that you did. And it just seems, you're right. I totally believe this is a reaction and just, the visceral response to first a Barack Obama and then a Kamala Harris and then a Raphael Warnock, and just the ascendancy of black political power. But at some point, don't they realize this is going to hurt their own voters? You can't just target us. It's going to hit everybody.
It's going to hit everybody, and I think that is the unintended consequence. They have not, listen, we're not always talking about the sharpest knives in the drawer here. I don't think that they could play this out and really think this out and understand that it is going to impact poor people, people who don't have the means to get an ID, people who don't have transportation. It's going to impact some of their own voters. I mean, I don't know that they thought all the way through. I think they were really trying to get to folks who they have presumed would vote against them if given the opportunity.
Wow. Well, so one thing I wanted to ask you about is, or maybe just kind of lift up, that has gone somewhat unnoticed because elections do have consequences. During the Trump administration, I mean, he put together probably one of the widest benches of federal judges. I mean, you have to probably go back to the 1950s to find, you know, a group that was so non-diverse as the people that Trump put forward. Joe Biden has been quietly appointing black folk and black women in particular to a lot of important federal courts.
That is correct. And actually, to date, on his 179th day in office, Joe Biden had appointed more black people to the federal bench than any other president in history except Bill Clinton, over the totality of their terms. So he has already and is on track to break all records when it comes to appointing black people to the bench. And this is critically important, Mark, and you raise a very good point. During the Trump administration, not just Trump, because I don't even know if he was smart enough to think about this, but Mitch McConnell was laser focused over the 8 years of the Obama administration and during the Trump term in filling the bench with white, conservative, young people who have the potential to sit on the bench for 30, 40 years. They're appointing people in their 40s and their 50s who will change the trajectory of our judiciary. And Mitch McConnell has been, listen, I have to give him credit for that, laser focused because he understood what that would mean, even if they lose elections, what it will mean to reshape the judiciary. And so I'm really, really pleased and really proud that Joe Biden has made this a priority and in many stealth ways has set about his own response to the judiciary and filling vacancies rapidly, and especially with people of color, women of color.
Well, look, Joe Biden needs to join the AME Church or some Black Baptist church because if it was not for black women, Joe Biden would be still the retired vice president of America. I mean, can we just be honest, right?
We did our part. I think we did more than our part as black women want to do. And, you know, people like to say that black women saved America. I don't know that we set out to save America. I think we set out to save ourselves and save our communities. And it just so happens when we save ourselves and we save our husbands and our sons and our daughters and our communities, that America gets saved too. So yeah, we are savvy voters. We know how to size up an issue, and you know, all of us got a mama, a auntie, a grandmama, a church mother who can size somebody up with just a look and say, "Baby, go the other way."
That's exactly right, and that's what black women did in the last election. So that's the last election. But we are turning the page quickly, and you know, I think the conservative view is that the Democrats will retain the Senate. Yeah, the House is kind of iffy, but Trump is going to be a wild card. He's still in this. He didn't do well in Texas this last week. What do you see with regard to the big picture, especially with the Senate and the House, and what the Democrats need to be thinking about right now?
Well, Democrats need to do what they've begun to do, which is to start now using the means of the bully pulpit of the White House and leveraging and talking about what Joe Biden's been able to do so far. This child tax credit this week of $300 per child on an ongoing basis for working families is huge. The infrastructure bill that's going to create jobs. Here's, we've got to deliver. The Democrats have to deliver tangible things for the American people to help them navigate this post-pandemic economy, this post-pandemic environment. Imagine if Trump had won. We would probably still all be in lockdown. There'd be millions more of us dead. No telling. So the Democrats have to be clear about the accomplishments, sell, 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 make sure people are aware, are clear, and can articulate what the difference is in a Democratic House, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic presidency. And they got to connect with people. They have to do the work of connecting with people now and not in October 2022. In my ideal, I think if we do the work, the margins in the House can increase because Nancy Pelosi needs a larger margin in the House, and we can pick up, a couple of other Senate seats because our problem now is we're 50-50. And the vice president breaks the tie, but you got to get to 50. Listen, the John Lewis Voting Act only has 47 co-sponsors, so there are 3 Democrats who are not co-sponsoring. We need to find out who they are and appeal to them. I want to let your listeners know today Black women and their allies are rallying on Capitol Hill. This is our 3rd week of action to press the Senate to pass the For the People Act, H.R. 1, and the John Lewis Voting Act, H.R. 4. If you want to be involved, call your senator, 202-224-3121, 224-3121, and make sure that your senator is on board. Make sure your senator is on board. And not only are they on board, but have they talked to their colleagues?
That's amazing. You all have been doing it. I've been watching it. I mean, following my friends on social who've been there, people who've been arrested, and really like putting themselves on the line to make this happen. And that's what we have to do. I think as well that while we are pressing for the Congress to do its part, pressing for the courts to do their part, that I don't know why we're not doing massive voter registration drives right now and already working on a turnout plan to compensate for what we're going to lose as a result of these new laws. Are you seeing that yet?
We are seeing it. The DNC announced an initiative to invest an initial investment of $25 million. The vice president announced it a couple of weeks ago to begin the voter registration and turnout planning for 2022. Here's the other key thing that we have to remember, Mark. This is a redistricting year. The map is going to look different, and because Republicans, and in many places, I want to make a distinction, conservative Republicans control the legislatures, we run the risk of having them draw the lines in ways that disadvantage working people, that disadvantage the Democratic Party, and that advantage them to win more seats. So we've got to keep an eye on our state legislators and how they are drawing the lines. That is going to have a critical impact in 2022 as well.
All right, real quick, I get about 2 minutes left. So one of the questions from Facebook Live, Will Megan wants to know, what's taking so long for Biden to deliver on student loan debt?
Well, I think my understanding is they are working on it. Obviously, and clearly you are a follower of the news. There's a lot of things happen. He's been in office exactly 6 months. So, between the voting rights, the infrastructure issues, the court nominations, there are many things happening. And so I think you can stay tuned, and you'll hear something about student loan debt soon. All
right. Lightning round, yes or no questions. Val Demings defeats Marco Rubio, yes or no?
Pass.
Pass? Oh, God. All right. Raphael Warnock retains his Senate seat in Georgia, yes or no?
Yes.
Stacey Abrams becomes the next governor of Georgia, yes or no?
Yes.
Leah Daughtry chairs another Democratic National Convention, yes or no?
No.
All right. Bishop Leah Daughtry, thank you for getting up early in the morning. And this has been so informative, very helpful, and I hope that folk are listening. We cannot wait until 2022 to flip a switch. We've got to have that energy right now as though the election is this fall. thank you, and continue to keep us informed in Philly.
Absolutely. Good to see you, my brother.
All right, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, that was Leah Daughtry. She said pass. Woo, man, I'm hoping for Val, but all right. We got to take a quick commercial break. It is 6:40 in the morning, July the 29th. It's Thursday. It's almost time for the weekend. Hope you got some good plans. We'll be right back on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, Philadelphia. Switching to Geico is a good idea, especially when you consider everything.
First off, Geico makes it easy to switch, and you can contact your local agent for personalized assistance.
But having a trusted insurer in your life could make you feel so secure that you'll want to do something dangerous like run through a cactus patch, and that never ends well.
Well, if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds on car insurance, and you could keep saving by bundling your motorcycle, boat, and RV, plus your home or renter's insurance.
But saving money might make you want to giggle gleefully, and when your mouth's open, a stray acorn could fall in there. It happens a lot, actually.
Well, they do have an industry-leading mobile app you can use to pay your bill, file and manage a claim, or add a new driver. And they offer discounts to military and federal employees.
And that might make you so happy that you start whistling all the time. Who likes whistling? Name one person.
Well, Geico is the second largest car insurer in the country and has been saving people money for 85 years. It's hard to beat that.
But you're right.
Switch to Geico. It's obviously a good idea.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Are you looking to hire diverse talent? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal to help connect you with diverse talent in Philadelphia and beyond. If you would like to have your jobs featured on our job portal, give us a call at 215-425-7875 or send us an email at sales@wordradio.com. Check out the job portal today on our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
This report sponsored by Indeed.com. Volume building on the Schuylkill eastbound. Heavy Gladwin to Belmont. There's a disabled vehicle there off to the right. East of that, not a bad ride. Westbound side, Broad to Passyunk. Getting busy. Delays in the city out through Belmont. Westbound Vine Expressway, late from the Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95, Cotman to Bridge, a little slow there. Then volume Allegheny down through Girard. Northbound, no major problems. 55 northbound building up from Deptford into 42 now. Take the shortcut to your next grade hire when you sponsor a job on Indeed. Instant Match immediately delivers a list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Severe storms threaten this afternoon as a cold front swings into our area. A spotty shower or thunderstorm this morning, but as that cold front nears us this afternoon, those storms could produce damaging wind, hail, heavy rain, even an isolated tornado threat. 83 the high today. It all clears out tonight. Nice weather ahead for Friday, decreasing humidity, mostly sunny and up to 84, and a beauty on Saturday. Low humidity, sunshine, and high of 80 degrees. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. Your host today, Mark Kelly Tyler. Our co-host, Bishop Royster, is getting some R&R. That was a great interview. I gotta tell you. I mean, really, think about it. I want to just say this. You should get CEUs for listening to the show every day. You know, isn't that what they still call them, or is it a new name? Continuing education credit or units or whatever? Is that what it is? Yeah, whatever it is, you should get some continuing ed because, I mean, like, really, the folk who call in, these guests are just incredible. So I want to thank her for that. And I mean, listen, I mean, you know, you should expect people to like try to change the rules of the game once you have figured it out and started to master their rules. What we can't do is become hopeless and despondent. So we've got to, you know, we got to have a mix. You have to have an inside game fighting within the courts. Got to have that outside agitation, like the women that she's talking about that are ramping up. And I know other people who are going to, I've seen friends of mine, Tony Lee and Stephen Green and others who've been in D.C. also being arrested. But then you've got to have a ground game that says, I don't really care what happens. I mean, you know, it's like since we've been talking about sports this morning with Simone Biles, you know, you start playing, you know, a game and like right away as the game starts, you get a sense that the refs just don't like you. And it's like, oh crap, these refs are out to get us. So do you just like pack it up and go home? No. So it's like we have to like beat this team by 20. Because the one thing we can't do, all sports players know this, right? What's the conversation? We can't let the ref decide the outcome. All athletes know it. It's like if you let it get close, we already know the refs are going to cheat because they just don't like us. Maybe they don't like the city we come from. Maybe they don't like our uniforms. Maybe, I don't know, it's something else. Who knows? But we know that we cannot let it become a decision that they get to make. We got to blow them out. So we're gonna run the score up and beat them by 20, beat them by 30. So far away, the refs have no say so. That's what we have to do. In Pennsylvania, for example, when we vote, we win. When we turn out, we win, period. So what do we need to do in 2022? We need to turn out. I don't care, you know, if it's Sharif Street, if it's Malcolm Kenyatta, if it is John Fetterman, or some other person who emerges to be the standard bearer for the Democratic Party coming out of Pennsylvania, the opportunity to have 2 Democratic senators from PA with Pat Toomey stepping down, come on, we can't blow that. That's an alley-oop. Don't let the refs decide. The opportunity soon to follow Tom Wolf with a Democratic governor, given what these Republicans keep doing in this gerrymandered configuration of Pennsylvania, do you really want to give them the governorship again? Don't you remember? It was called Tom Corbett. Whoa. Shudder to think, going back to that. But see, we get caught up on the wrong questions. We get caught up on the wrong questions. We get caught up on, they're not perfect. They haven't done everything they promised to do. And then all of a sudden you get a Tom Corbett with a Republican-controlled Senate and House and PA kicking your behind left and right. And you're like, how did this happen? Because we have political amnesia. So that's all. I'm just simply saying, let us not have to wait to get fired up. It's kind of like, so in church, you know, I'm giving you all kind of analogies. In church, we would say, when we used to gather together, like, I don't need the praise team to get me fired up. When I woke up this morning, I didn't have no doubt, right? Like when I got here, I don't care what you all do. I am fired up because the Lord has given me another day. So if that's you in your synagogue, if that's you in your masjid, if that's you in your temple, or wherever it is that you worship, whatever analogy works for you, don't wait for somebody to fire you up. Act like July 2021 is October 2022. Keep your foot on the gas. Period. All right, so I said I want to talk briefly about what's going on in the city of Philadelphia. And this is a really important story because it's, in fact, we've said as much for a long time. So I want to applaud City Council and the mayor. Yes, I said it. I want to applaud the two offices, the mayor's office and City Council, for doing what I think is the right thing. Thanks to pressure from groups like ours, Power Live Free, and a ton of other activist groups, a ton of them. All of us who have been pressuring the city to put money and resources into real programs that will make a difference. If you want to end violence, don't just give the cops another $100 million and think they're going to go somehow solve it. And that's not going to happen. You know, my mantra is what? If you want to solve violence, you've got to put it into the hands of people who are on the ground. And that's just the immediate stuff. You know, Bishop Royster laid it out very well the other day on the show, last week actually, talking about all the things you have to do beforehand. I mean, the violence that we're seeing today by 20-year-olds, we could predict 15 years ago when we were making cuts to their schools and the budget, when we were paying their parents crappy wages that kept them out of the house all day, trying to keep feeding these kids. But in this immediate moment, right now, there are things that can be done to stem the violence, to prevent us from getting to 600 murders this year, you all. That's what we're on pace for. That can stop us from hitting almost 500 again. And the people who know best how to stop violence in the neighborhood are the people who live in the neighborhood, who are often under-resourced. And I mean, there's some of these groups, if you gave them $1,000, man, you would think with the things that they bring you back that you would actually, did we give them, I thought we only gave them 1,000. They're doing like $100,000 worth of work. We just need to prime the pump. And so what they finally decided, it's a great story on the front page, that they are going to take this money and start giving it out to community groups in chunks of $100,000 to $1 million. They're going to start getting it out there quickly. Applications are open. Check out the Enquirer's front page this morning, and you will see exactly what's going on and how to do it. I don't have time this morning before the show ends to go through all of the details, but let me just add this cautionary tale to City Council and to the mayor. Do not give this to the usual suspects. See, don't set up the kind of criteria that's going to make it impossible for the neighborhood groups that know best how to do this to be in a position where they cannot access the money. There are groups like Charmaine Matlock Turner's Urban Affairs Coalition, which I'm proud to be on the board, that have expertise in working with small nonprofits. Maybe you got to partner with some groups like that so that you can have a fiscal agent who can manage the money, but you've got to find a way where this doesn't just go to the same old groups that always get the money. And I'll throw us in there. I mean, Power. Yeah, we know that if we were to apply, of course, right? But that's not what we do. We're not the boots on the ground folk. We need this to go into the neighborhoods. And there's some groups that don't even exist yet that need to be formed. Some of these old heads who've been out there before, who have street cred. We've got to be able to put the resources in the hands of the people who can immediately ramp up. We need violence interrupters walking these streets in the day, in the evening, but you can't ask them to take off work and just do this stuff for free. They got to feed their families too. So, City Council, you're on the right track. Mayor, you're on the right track. Now, don't screw it up. And if you want some help evaluating those apps, I'm always free. Give me a call. That's all we have time for today, folks. As Bishop Dwayne Royster would say, if he were here today, don't just sit there listening to all this knowledge, taking all this stuff and doing nothing with it. Go out there and change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Thank you, Kuwais, of holding it down. Thanks to all of you, and the Lord willing and the creek don't rise. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Peace.
With my face turned